The spiral is a sacred symbol that represents the journey and change of life as it unfolds, taking a labyrinth-like passage that leads to the source. The spiral symbol can also represent the consciousness of nature, beginning from its center, expanding outwardly. Spirals have been linked to nature, the seasons, and the cycle of life. Spirals are found throughout the lands between, mirroring real-world symbolism. Let's go over a few examples of spirals in the game. Cerulea Woe has the ability to thrust the tree spear in a spiraling motion, surrounding in a vortex of wind. Charge attacks have the power to blow away enemies and can fire tornadoes forward, while Ordovis's vortex channels the power of the crucible to spin his sword around. Both of these attacks are based in the power of the crucible, primordial form of the Erd tree. The spiral horn shield is a small shield of antlers, arranged in an eddy-like pattern. If used to attack a foe, the shield's antlers inflict blood loss, once given to a tarnished warrior who cultivated close ties with the ancestral followers, who believed in the power of rebirth through sacrifice. The crucible is associated with a red tint. This red tint could relate to blood sacrifice. The crucible is an ancient melding of life and has many connections to the Formless Mother. The Formless Mother is a form of Mother Nature that bestows strength upon those willing to make the sacrifices needed. For example, Thorn sorcerers sacrifice their own eyes to gain the power of hex magic to utilize the Briars of Sin, which creates a spiral of blood thorns. Thorn sorcerers are associated with fire monks who use Whirl o' Flame, an incantation that creates a spiraling stream of fire that burns the area before the caster. The Black Flame Tornado skill creates a vortex of black flames. It creates the fire tornado while spinning the armament. Flame, Cleanse Me displays how fire is a way to alleviate buildup of poison and scarlet rot. Another method for alleviating the buildup of poison and rot is by using soap. Soap is made from melted mushrooms. Within the manga Road to the Erd Tree, Gatekeeper Gostuk gives the main character soap. On the packaging, there are 3 spirals. Tornadoes are great vortexes of spiraling winds. Farum Azula is stuck in a constant tornado, and the storm blade surrounds your blade with winds that can be fired forward. Notice how each of the item descriptions that mention spirals so far are related to nature, whether it be trees, thorns, flames, or winds. Within the waters that surround the lands between are multiple whirlpools. A whirlpool is a body of rotating water produced by opposing currents or a current running into an obstacle. A whirlpool that has a downdraft is called a vortex. The torch depicting Miquella's adult form with one eye has multiple spirals. The torch is found in the consecrated snowfield in a carriage. The only other carriage in the snowfield contains the flowing curved sword, relating to the blind swordsman that taught Melania how to fight off her rod through the power of flowing movements. The placement of the flowing sword could also connect to Miquella's pursuit to returning the flow back to the lands, returning balance. Spirals can be found in seashells, whirlpools, tornadoes, galaxies, again all creations of nature's design. Spirals found in nature can be attributed to the belief in the golden spiral, which is related to the mathematical golden ratio or Fibonacci sequence. The golden ratio is found in the seed formation of a sunflower, as well as can display how trees grow their branches. Hold up your finger. Each section, from the tip of the base to the wrist, is larger than the preceding one by roughly the ratio of phi, the golden ratio. The golden ratio seemingly fits in perfect within the Golden Order fundamentalism. Golden Order fundamentalism is a scholarly pursuit combining both intelligence and faith that attempts to interpret the core ideologies of the Golden Order. Fundamentalism is based on 2 concepts: the law of regression, the pull of meaning and the yearning to converge, and the law of causality, the pull between meanings, which links all things in a chain of relation. Miquella was raised a Golden Order fundamentalist by his father, Radagon, and yet the young Miquella abandoned fundamentalism for it could do nothing to treat Melania's accursed rod. Miquella was brilliant and fearsome, an Empyrean of creation and sacrifice. His known creations include the triple rings of light and the unalloyed golden needle. The rings of light are an incantation used by Golden Order fundamentalists, and his needle is capable of subduing the influence of outer gods. His largest creation is the helix tree, which he grew from a sapling, watering it with his very own blood. The Elfiel brace of the helix tree is intricately designed from its pottery to its sculptures. The brace of the helix tree itself could connect to Miquella being of Silver Tear heritage. Like the tree, he required a brace to stand, which is why he needed to use dreams to travel the lands between. Also, why sculptures depicting young Miquella are all sitting down. Sculptures are found throughout the lands between, but none so abundantly as those within the shaded castle. The shaded castle of House Marias is filled with statues relating to Melania, as the head of House Marias is devoted to her. The highest tower within the castle has an assortment of discarded or unused prosthetics. The Valkyrie's prosthesis is found here, a masterful work of craftsmanship, and is used to aid Millicent, kin of Melania. Through Millicent's quest, we gain the unalloyed golden needle, which eventually turns into Miquela's needle, via its interaction with Melania's scarlet bloom. It's possible that the creator of the sculptures found within the shaded castle could be the same famed sculptor of the Erd Tree capital that Pastor Muriel mentions. He states that a famed sculptor was once summoned to render Lord Radagon's likeness in a giant statue. The sculptor glimpsed into Radagon's secret of mimicry and hid this truth within the statue. Goldmask seeks to perfect the Golden Order. To do this, he must first fully comprehend the Order, and the knowledge that we provide to him about Radagon's statue assists him in finding the truth. Our assistance aids Goldmask in the discovery of the mending rune of perfect order. Goldmask attempts to gain a deeper understanding of the Golden Order by using his finger to find a solution to mend the order back into balance. As mentioned earlier, the golden ratio fits into human arms, hands, and fingers. The digit, or finger, is an ancient and obsolete non-SI unit of measurement of length. It was a fundamental unit of length in the ancient Egyptian, Mesopotamian, Hebrew, ancient Greek, and Roman systems of measurement. The digit was used in astronomy as well, in which a digit was 1/12 of the diameter of the sun or the moon. The mending rune of perfect order states that the current imperfection of the Golden Order, or instability of their ideology, can be blamed upon the fickleness of the gods that are no better than men. That is the fly in the ointment. The term fickle is also found in the item description for the My Beloved prattling pate, that states expressions of love are among the most fickle. This pate is found in the helix tree, and could be in reference to the actions that Miquela took in order to find a solution to cure the lands between and his family of its stagnation. The solution being rebirth via an ultimate sacrifice. Prattling pates are interesting little sculptures crafted from human and demi-human heads. The Hello pate can be found on a corpse behind the first pillar that exudes fire. The Thank You pate is found on a corpse just past a flame-throwing pillar. Other pates are found in places of death, like the sainted hero's grave or the impaler's and unsightly catacombs. At this time, the You're Beautiful pate is the only one that we can use to interact with an NPC. In this case, it is used to provide confidence to Bach, the seamster. Bach decides that he no longer seeks rebirth after receiving confirmation of his mother's love. Bach's identity revolves around his sewing needles. Needles are a key item related to both Miquela and Radagon. Bach's cap is similar to that of Dolores, the Sleeping Arrow. Dolores was a handsome archer who dressed in the style of a man. She wears clothes of a different gender. This gender fluidity mirrors Miquela's alias of Saint Trina, as some say that she was a comely young girl. Others are sure he is a boy. This gender fluidity is also found in Lanya, Dialos' servant. Lanya is described as a young woman and a little tomboy. Tomboy is a term used for girls or young women with masculine traits. Dialos states that Lanya is as fickle as the wind and that she is here one moment and gone the next, just like how St. Trina's appearance was just as sudden as their disappearance. Dolores wears the Page's set that states traveling wear tailored with exquisite precision to avoid any undue shame for the Page's master. Dolores is called the Silent Hunter by some. She fires St. Trina arrows from her short bow. Her short bow was fashioned from a master craftsman who used polished red wood. Multiple crossbows within the game are fashioned by a master craftsman as well, like the Full Moon crossbow, which is made to celebrate the matrimonial union between the houses of the Erd Tree and the full moon. Miquela, of course, being a product of this union. We also have the pulley bow, which is found nearby a sacramental bud, and nearby the pulley crossbow is Miquela's lily. Its description states that it's a series of pulleys and strings. The complex mechanism, which required advanced mathematical and mechanical understanding to craft, was likely made by a certain genius who learned Golden Order fundamentalism. Pulleys and strings like those used by a puppeteer. Finally, let's cover Krempus's black crossbow, an assassin's tool of exquisite craftsmanship. It uses black key bolts for ammo, which are intricate spiral tipped with scarlet wrought. Who do we know that is capable of exquisite craftsmanship and has researched the scarlet wrought? The term spiral being again used to relate to nature, as wrought is decay, a naturally occurring part of the cycle of life. Mikkela's design of the alfiel displays his ability as a master craftsman, and his creations like the helix tree require sacrifice. This may seem like a bit of a jump, but could the second generation Albinaurics be related to Mikkela's masterful design? Unlike the first generation, the second generation retains the use of their legs by infusing inhuman DNA into the process of their creation, which helped reduce their blood clots. This is evident when observing the blood clot drop rates decline. Wolfback archers have a 15% chance of dropping a clot, while second gens only have a 2.5% chance. This inhuman DNA reminded me of the Godskin nobles, who have assimilated inhuman physiology. The Godskin physiology is connected to reptilian features, while the second-gen Albinaurics are amphibians, both of which relate to the spiral fusion of humans and nature. Albinaurics are created through the science of the silver tear, reminiscent to how cloning works in our world. Cloning is the process of producing individual organisms with identical genomes, either by natural or artificial means. In bioethics, there are a variety of ethical positions regarding the practice and possibilities of cloning. The use of the embryonic stem cells, which can be produced during the early stage of the developing embryo, in some cell research has attracted controversy. In a way, Mikkela is a biologist, using his needles to cure the lands between of its afflictions, second-gen Albinaurics being his version of a knockout mouse. Second-gen Albinaurics found in the consecrated snowfield can use the Discus of Light, an incantation created by Mikkela as a gift to his father, Radagon. Second gens found in Mogwin's palace could be infused with the accursed blood of the Crucible. The blood-red Albinaurics have the ability to shoot out needles from their body, like a pufferfish. Their use of needles to attack reminded me of Mikkela's connection to needles. Some second-gen Albinaurics even have the ability to summon giant skeletons, somewhat like a spirit caller snail. Spirit caller snails have a spiral design on their shell, as well as are found in the helix tree. The spirit callers are weak creatures, but they can use the power of those that are strong to protect them and to fight for them, just as Mikkela used Melania to act as his blade. The origin of the Albinaurics is visually depicted by the ripple blade, which is wielded by young Albinaurics, like young Mikkela. The ripple blade is purchased from Pydia. Pydia is a first-gen Albinauric who utilizes puppets. One of these puppets is Seluvis. Seluvis's quest is to turn Rani, an Empyrean and demigod, into a puppet. The item required to accomplish this task is Amber Starlight. Mikkela's statue is found in the same location as the Amber Starlight. Also found in this area are sacramental buds. Could this show a connection to how Mikkela used Rani as a puppet for his long-term goal of rebirth? Rani did physically become a puppet after the Night of the Black Knives, and I believe this is to symbolize how she herself was used as a puppet. Miniature Rani is a doll resembling Rani the Witch. From head to toe, every detail is perfect. Could Mikkela have crafted this doll as well? Found near the Amber Starlight statue of Mikkela are several land octopi. Mikkela is the octopus, St. Trina his camouflage. Land octopi eat humans in order to bear young, and theirs is the blood that runs through these ovaries. This shows that it requires blood sacrifice in order to create life. Mikkela's influence and blood bewitching abilities allowed him to puppeteer a plan for a grand rebirth to become the One Great, superseding the Greater Will. Within the manga, it's mentioned that wearing the octopus head is the latest fashion trend in Lendel. This shows Mikkela's influence within the capital city. Also within the manga, Godric challenges the Tarnished to a grafting contest, in which the Tarnished makes an octopus. Godric copies this idea last minute and creates a darker colored octopus. This could represent the balance of light and dark, black and white, yin and yang, balance. The manga gives a closer look at the grafted scions as well, and refers to them as children. The grafted scion is the first challenge that the Tarnished meets in the lands between, highlighting their importance. They are children that have been grafted with body parts of the Tarnished. The Tarnished are used as sacrifices to help them grow. Roderica states that once you become merged with the spider, aka grafted scion, you will become a chrysalid, which is another word for chrysalis, a quiescent insect pupa, especially of a butterfly or moth. Quiescent means being quiet and still, like Mikkela in his cocoon. Grafted scions are found in Stormville, Lernia, and Mount Gelmir, all places attempting to create life. Stormville houses the Godskin Apostle Seal, as well as Godskin Prayer Book. Godskins are found in places of sacrifice and rebirth. Their prayer book is made from supple skin, possibly that of a child. Stormville is associated with grafting, which is a technique that can help plants fight off disease. Grafting can also be used to bind human tissue together. In a stem cell transplant, you receive healthy blood-forming stem cells through a needle in your vein. Most of the blood-forming stem cells that are used in transplants come from the bloodstream. Could Mikola be involved with the horrific grafting experimentation conducted at Stormville? This may explain why Melania let him live, as she is the blade of Mikola. Lernia houses the royal Carian family. At the head is Queen Renala of the Full Moon. Full moons are associated with growth, fertility, and abundance. Locked away in the Grand Library, she devotes herself to the grim art of reincarnation, clutching the amber egg left to her by Radagon. She uses this amber egg on the juvenile scholars around her, calling them her sweetings, continuously rebirthing them in an imperfect process, which would leave their memories fading into oblivion. The children born anew by Renala were all frail and short-lived, imperfect beings, each and all. Notice how the sweetings have a similar appearance to the grafted scions. Mount Gelmir houses grotesque sacrifices, especially those of nobles and Albinaurics. While it is a place of death, it is also a place of life, as we know that Datakar gave birth to a myriad of children here. The description of her indulging in every form of adultery and wicked pleasure imaginable could be Golden Order defamation. Her children are the Snake Men, and of course, Zarias. Zarias' quest involves her relationship with a pseudo-mother she believes to be her real mother, but she later learns the truth about being born of a hideous ritual. The Snake Men and the Godskins have a similar physiology. A Godskin noble drops the serpent's amnion, which again mentions the ritual of birth. The coiled shield is found near Mount Gelmir. This shield features a sculpted bronze snake shaped like a spiral. Could this again tie into Mikola's quest for knowledge of rebirth, using Volcano Manor as a place to study how to create life? Look at this painting of Rykard. Look closely to the center brooch. It appears to be veiled. The chain that Rykard is wearing has 6 brooches. The 7th is hidden in plain sight in the center. This necklace reminded me of the ones worn by the Beastmen. The Beastmen that wear these chains have been sacrificed on pillars for some seemingly greater purpose. As mentioned in a prior video, I believe Mikola's grand plan to be that of rebirthing the Crucible to attain the status of the One Great, to become the ultimate puppeteer, God. There are 6 divine towers. Each tower acts as an altar to sacrifice the shard bearers. The 7th may be hidden in the Land of Shadows, concealed just like Rykard's brooch. In Nokron, you light 6 pillars to gain access to the regal ancestor spirit. There are also 6 pillars that are found leading into Volcano Manor, as well as 6 pillars in the Farmazula area where Malakath is located. Also, 6 pillars in the Grand Cloister. The candelabra in the Grand Library has 6 circles that are all merged together on top of the 7th. The 6 paths in Buddhist cosmology are the 6 worlds where the sentient beings are reincarnated based on their karma, which is linked to the actions in their previous lives. These paths are depicted in the Bhava Chakra, also known as the Wheel of Existence. Rebirth occurs in the 6 realms of existence, namely the 3 good realms and the 3 evil realms. Samsara ends if a person attends nirvana, a spiritual awakening. The 6 paths are the world of the gods or celestial beings, the world of the warlike demigods, the world of the human beings, the world of the animals, the world of the hungry ghosts, and the world of hell. Samsara in Buddhism is a beginningless cycle of repeated birth, mundane existence, and dying again due to ignorance. Buddhism considers the liberation from samsara as the ultimate spiritual goal. Some Buddhist texts suggest that rebirth occurs through the transfer of consciousness from one life to another. Above the wheel is an image of the moon. The moon represents liberation from the sufferings of samsara. Inquisitor Giza's wheel is symbolically connected to the wheel of life. As the wheel spins, it causes severe pain and blood loss. Again, Volcano Manor was both a place of life and death. The wheel is also present on the statues related to the catacombs. Mikola is associated with rebirth, as his cocoon sits atop giant hip bones. Mog attempted to raise Mikola to full godhood by sharing his bloody bedchamber. Mog essentially attempted to grow Mikola in the same way that Mikola grew the Halic tree, through accursed blood. Within blood is DNA. DNA is a polymer composed of 2 polynucleotide chains that coil around each other to form what's known as a double helix. The polymer carries genetic instructions for the development, functioning, growth, and reproduction of all known organisms. If you only remember one thing from this video, remember this: the 2 chains that form the DNA are the chains of relation that links all things mentioned in the Law of Causality. The double helix spiral is found in the Bloody Helix, Fingerslayer Blade, Godslayer's Greatsword, and Sacred Relic Sword. The DNA molecule measures 34 angstroms long by 21 angstroms wide for each full cycle of its double helix spiral. These numbers, 34 and 21, are numbers within the Fibonacci series, and their ratio, 1.619, closely approximates to phi, 1.618. Also worth mentioning, Mogg's Great Rune symbol mirrors the symbol used to identify phi. Quick side note, spirals are a symbol of hypnosis, stemming from the cliche of people and cartoon characters being hypnotized by staring into a spinning spiral. Mesmer's name is similar to mesmerism, a type of hypnotic induction. Hypnosis is a trance-like state that resembles sleep, but is induced by a person whose suggestions are readily accepted by the subject. Mesmer's spear seems to have spirals on the tips, and I can't help but to think about Mikkela's ability to compel the affection of others. In closing, the spiral is found in nature, from the double helix of the DNA to the acceleration disk that surrounds black holes. Within the lands between, spirals could relate to the natural design of the world, like plant growth, the power of storms, or flowing water, and symbolize Mikkela's journey towards rebirth. Mikkela's goal of saving his sister from her festering rot may have began as idealistic. Unfortunately, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. A common meaning of this phrase is that wrongdoings or evil actions are often undertaken with good intentions, or that good intentions, when acted upon, may have unintended consequences. As always, thank you so much for your time today. I sincerely appreciate it, and I hope you have a wonderful week.